Coming up on New York City Sports Tonight, the Jets stood tall on the 10th anniversary of 9/11 in dramatic come-from-behind fashion over Dallas. The Giants played a divisional game against a very motivated Redskins team in Week 1. New York native and All-Pro running back Ray Rice out the block strong against the Steelers. And the PSAL football opener with top-ranked Tottenville hosting the Orange Wave of Thomas Jefferson. NYC Sports Network coming to you from the beautiful downtown Atlantic Center Mall and Buffalo Wild Wings. Hi everybody, I'm Joby Smith along with Devale, Ellis, my expert on football this season. And Devale, it's going to be exciting when you talk about the pros all the way down to the grassroots.
Well, first of all, I want to thank God that the lockout is over, because I didn't know where I was every day. But we learned some things about the NFL this week, some things we knew, some things we didn't know, but last night was a great game, wasn't it, last night?
That's right, Devale. Everybody knows there was plenty of emotion surrounding the 10th anniversary of 9/11 here in New York City, something we'll never forget. But of course, Jets coach Rex Ryan promised that his team would deliver. Picking it up in the fourth quarter with 11:56 to go, Plaxico Burress' 26-yard touchdown pass on the fade route from Mark Sanchez capped a 7-play, 84-yard drive. The Cowboys were up 24-17. Then with 5 minutes to go, Joe McKnight with the play of the game, blocking a punt, and Isaiah Trufant returned it 18 yards to tie the game at 24 apiece for the Jets. 55 seconds left, Tony Romo makes a critical error, and Darrelle Revis makes him pay with the pick and 20-yard return, Romo's only interception of the game, and that set the stage for Nick Folk to line up for a 50-yard field goal try, and he just got it inside the upright. The Jets win 27-24 at MetLife Stadium, and Rex Ryan glad that his team backed him up on his promised victory. Meanwhile, the Giants and Eli Manning in the nation's capital for a divisional matchup with the Redskins, and Ryan Kerrigan broke the game open with a 9-yard pick six. Eli obviously disappointed, along with Coach Coughlin, with a 28-14 loss to Washington. Now back down in Baltimore, All-Pro running back Ray Rice had another great performance against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The former New Rochelle High and Rutgers star on the receiving end on one of 3 touchdown passes from Joe Flacco in the second quarter. And for all you Buffalo Wild Wings fantasy football players, Rice put up solid numbers in Week 1. He's our Fantasy Player of the Week. And Devale, obviously NFL Week 1 got off with some sparks, some great performances, but what do you think about the Jets' performance?
We learned that the Jets have some weaknesses. I mean, obviously that defense is just unstoppable, but Mark Sanchez still made some mistakes, which, he's going to do. He's a second-year quarterback in the NFL. It's not something you just come and do and have success right away. But they struggled a little bit in the running game, and also with the turnovers. I mean, you can't have those type of turnovers when you play good football teams. The Cowboys had some turnovers as well, which is why the Jets were able to get back in the game. But the Jets have some things to work on. I mean, I think they're still going to be a contender in the AFC, but they got to go back to the drawing board on a couple things.
And the Giants' defense decimated with injuries. Justin Tuck at the forefront of that, but you saw Eli Manning struggle against the Redskins.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is also a thing where you see, the offseason. That timing between quarterback and receiver is not something that just happens. Once again, you don't just get off the bus and have that timing. And these offenses are normally used to having months to prepare for proper blitz packages and proper blitz pickup and sight adjust and stuff like that. And they didn't have that opportunity. And, the Redskins, they made some changes in the offseason, brought in some new D linemen. One of my close friends, Stephen Bowen, defensive tackle for the Redskins, had his first sack last night. But the Redskins look really good. The Giants didn't look that bad. But, I mean, some of the mistakes they made were just not typical mistakes. Like the low field goal at the end to get it blocked, the turnovers at the end. Like, that's just bad football.
I'll tell you what, I was extremely proud of Ray Rice getting out the blocks that way in Week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers of all teams, and he usually performs well against them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Ray Rice is an extraordinary talent, explosive running back, not the biggest guy, but always one of the hardest workers, and you can see it every week as he steps out on the football field, man. He's a great athlete. He's just really fast, and, when you have a running game like Baltimore has, and then you can get the ball to Joe Flacco, and now they have, some guys that can make plays down the field, and Evans, and they lost Mason, but they got some guys on that offense now that can put points on the board. And Pittsburgh, I don't know what happened to Pittsburgh. It seems like they're still in the lockout. We don't know who that was, but that doesn't look like a typical Pittsburgh team. I'm pretty sure they'll come back and Big Ben will get them guys together.
And how about our guy out of Staten Island, Dominic Beasley, man. He leads his team out for 9/11. Outstanding player, is going to be a key player on that defensive front for the Gators down in the SEC.
You're talking about a kid from the city, from Staten Island, goes down to Florida on 9/11 weekend, and he carries the American flag out. That's a big deal in New York City football. I don't know if anyone else realizes that, but that's a big deal. It's also a big deal that he was wearing my number 2, the deuce, the big deuce, you know, but you just had to be proud, man. I'm proud watching on TV. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, that's easy. That's one of us. That's, you know, you have to be proud and say to yourself, that kid played at this level of football, and now he's at the elite level of college football, and it has to inspire a lot of our kids. Absolutely.
Easily repping New York big time. Now stay with us. When we come back, we'll have plenty more downtown in Brooklyn from Buffalo Wild Wings.
Down by 7. Final play for Detroit.
Only thing that would make this any better is overtime.
They'll need a miracle to win this football game. Harris slot right, drops back. Hines takes the pass at the 30. With the seam! Wow! Can you believe it? One man to beat!
And welcome back, everybody. Joby Smith along with Devale, Ellis here, and we're talking game of the week now. A real barn burner we were expecting with Tottenville and Jefferson with all that speed on both sides of the ball. But what did you see in that game?
Well, I mean, you notice the teams are sloppy. You know, a lot of people were hindered by Hurricane Irene that week, and a lot of practices were short. And you can tell offenses are normally the last things that come in order, especially during football season. So you saw a lot of good defensive plays. You saw a lot of fumbles, interceptions on offense, and the team with the less interceptions and fumbles, less turnovers won that game pretty much.
It was exciting to say the least. Now let's take a look at those highlights. The Pirates and their star quarterback Brandon Barnes coming out firing on all cylinders, going up top. The senior wideout Pat Murphy clearly challenging that speedy Jefferson secondary. Then big Augustus Edwards powers in from 4 yards out. Tottenville up 7-0 on the Orange Wave. In the second quarter, Syracuse-bound Alvin Cornelius picks off Alameda Stewart for a 12-yard TD return. Tottenville's up 20-0 at the half.
I will tell you, I thought we matched speed for speed. Our defense against their offense, I thought we were just as fast.
In the second half, Barnes sprinting out and connecting with Kevin Coughlin on a 4-yard TD pass. The Pirates shutting Jeff out 26-0 all the way through the fourth quarter until Mike Abanaconda's 30-yard score got his team back in the game with 8:25 to go. The Orange Wave defense kept rallying, forcing a turnover, then capitalizing with this big 56-yard fumble return for a touchdown by Devontae LeGrand. It was a 10-point game with just 6:07 left. The Tottenville stayed composed and closed it all out with Andre Darnt. Afterwards, Devale Ellis with the game-over MVP winner.
Well, how do you feel about being Week 1's winner of the Game of the Week MVP trophy?
I'm very proud of myself. You know, I'm very proud of my team. They helped me out get this. They helped me get this. You know, so basically, it was a team effort. I helped. Everybody else helped, but thank you.
And Devale, Alvin Cornelius, an outstanding player along with Brandon Barnes, a real good quarterback for Munson and those coaches over there in Tottenville. They've got a real solid foundation to build on.
Yeah, I mean, I was mostly impressed by Augustus Edwards. Here's a kid that I had an opportunity to see this past summer during training, and I was impressed, man. Gilbert Mendoza is one of those kids that you can't replace, just like a Wilbur Lee at Boys and Girls. But you're talking about 6'2", 215 pounds. He's only a junior. He ran the ball with aggression, good balance, good speed. And I mean, when you add that with Brandon Barnes and Alvin Cornelius, that gives them just that trifecta where they just can't be stopped. Let's talk about this last victory against Jefferson. Jefferson was supposed to be a title contender. You know, a lot of speed. How'd you feel the game?
The game went well. They played hard, but I felt like we wanted it more. We came out, we executed.
Well, you won the game over MVP trophy. 2 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. How would you rate your performance?
I'll say I did good for the most part, but you know, I didn't do as much as I can. So I just gotta work on it.
Well, I know a lot of coaches were complaining about the Hurricane Irene during camp. You guys went away for camp, right?
Our camp is still at time though.
Well, did y'all struggle with the hurricane?
We had a day off. We missed one day.
You missed one day? You see? Say that one more time.
We missed one day.
See, this is the difference between certain schools. They miss one day. Hurricane, y'all was out there in the hurricane?
Yes. Yeah.
See, you're about to get Coach Winston in trouble. PSL, don't punish him, all right? He's trying to build good men, all right? So I don't even blame him. But everybody knows that offensively, that's the last thing to come together in football team. It's So it's the first game. You know, you struggled a little bit. How would you rate your offensive performance?
Well, our run game was real good. I was impressed with our own run game. It was better than I thought it would be. Our pass game, it was all right. It's going to improve as the season goes on.
Did it seem like the timing was a little off a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, it was a new whole offensive line, so he didn't really have as much time as he expected. But you know, in practice, you know, it'll get better.
Well, I know you guys miss Gilbert Mendoza. He's a great running back. But talk to me about him. He's a beast. Yeah. He's a beast, man. Tell me how good you think he can actually be.
It was his first game, and he just got in there and started running. It really surprised everybody. I think he's going to be good.
I mean, based on what I see, I mean, how big is he? About 6'2", 62'10". He still has room to grow. He's going to be, I'm saying it now, on NYCFootball.com. By the time he graduates, he's going to be one of the best running backs in NYC football history. Do you concur?
Yes.
You know why they know what concur means? Because they can read. They can study, that's why. You guys, if you don't know what that word means, look it up. All right, these guys know what it means. That's how you become a college athlete.
You know, it's a fun atmosphere down here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Great food all the time. Wing specials, you got to definitely come down. Let's check in with Amelia Ismore with some of the football fans that are having fun down here on a Monday night.
What's up, everybody? It's Amelia Ismore. That's right, for NYC Sports TV. Now, we've got some of our audience participants here. We've got Vaughn. We've got none other than Sean, as well as Harold. Now, guys, what did you think about, you know, this has been September 11th, 10th anniversary. The Jets won, the Giants didn't. How did you feel about that?
Well, I was pretty happy that the Jets picked it all. It was an excellent game. Pretty much played on field. The Giants, on the other hand, you know, they have some work to do. Be a little banged up. I'm pretty sure they can get it done also. But to answer the question, it was a pretty successful weekend as far as New York sports are concerned.
But, you know, this week is Fashion Week. And, you know, I always talk about fan fashion, and I see you sporting your fan fashion right now. Talk about why it means so much for you to just rock those colors.
Well, I mean, you always have to represent. So, colors, fashion, detail, so personality, where your head is at, and also so when I wear authentic Al 1985 jersey, you know, trans workers, EMS workers, city workers, I can go to the state, they can be like, oh, good jersey. Because it tells them who you are and what you're about and what you like and what you're doing. So we talk about fashion always plays a part of the individual, whether it's play for the work.
No doubt. I agree with you. You guys got anything else you want to say to that?
That boost morale and let the people know who you cheering for, and then have the crowd going wild when your team scores.
I'm just upset I didn't wear my jersey.
Well, there you have it. We got more for you. Don't go anywhere. Keep it right here. NYC Sports TV. We'll be back.
It's another perfect day out here today.
Can I get you anything else?
We gotta get back to work.
On the move. We even saw a kid taking a bath in a water fountain. Whoop, I spoke too soon. This just in. A freak storm is blowing into the area. We're going to be experiencing hurricane-force winds and dense fog, followed by sheets of driving rain. Stay inside, hunker down, grab a beer. This is going to be a long one.
Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here.
We're receiving reports of hail the size of... Oh, boy. Oh.
And welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wings here in downtown Brooklyn at the beautiful Atlantic Center Mall. And talking about a real legend that's sitting here with me, a guy that I know because I played against him in high school, Clive Harding, the head coach for Boys and Girls High School. And welcome to the show, Clive.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'll tell you what, a lot of people won't know this, but I can say for sure that he is one of the best players I ever saw play in high school football here in New York City, and I'm sure you're going to transfer that kind of knowledge and power to your team.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, we're looking to play some power football and maybe finesse a little people, but it's definitely going to be power football from boys and girls.
Now, when you look at the philosophy of the way you like to do things offensively and defensively, and you talk about the kind of personnel you have to work with, does that match up well for you?
Yo, definitely. 4 yards in a cloud of dust, even though it's not a cloud of dust nowadays, but we're looking to get 4, and if we get 40 from the 4, that's what we want.
All right. And you got Erasmus coming up. They're going to be pretty angry after losing the campus magnet. And how do you get your players ready for that?
Well, it's like this, you know, you have to take each game as it is, one game at a time. You got to look at Erasmus as a team that's contending for the city championship. And I always tell my team, if you want to be on top, you know, you got to beat the top teams, and Erasmus is the top team.
Well, this is one of the biggest things. I remember one of the best teams I've ever seen play was that Sheepshead Bay team that you coached. Glenroy Watkins, Marlon Beckles, and Foley. Those guys offensively were able to not keep you guys in games because y'all demolished people on defense as well, but you're going to have to put up some points against Wayne Morgan and Shaquille Jackson. You know, what's your game plan coming in?
Well, the game plan is to be a balanced offense this week. I think last week we had a balanced offense. We threw the ball for a touchdown, we ran for a touchdown, and balanced also on defense because we scored on defense and had 4 interceptions. So I think we're going to be balanced on both sides of the ball.
Okay, cool. And not just to go over this week, but last week, man, like Curtis has always been a good football team. You know, how did you guys prepare for that game? Well, just be so dominant.
Well, I think the thing that we focused on was just being tough. We have to be tougher than Curtis because we know the history of Curtis is having tough teams, and we thought we had to be tough. I don't think it came down to X's and O's. I think it came down to who was the tougher team, and we proved to be the tougher team on that game.
Well, last year you graduated one of the best football players in the city in Wilbur Lee. You know, you can't replace a football player of that caliber from year to year, but do you have any guys this year who are just stepping up as a leader and say, you know what, I'm going to be the guy that can put the team on my back?
Well, one of the things that we talked about was we thought that with Wilbur, maybe we depended on him a little too much, but that's what you do with great athletes. But this year we're balanced in the backfield. We have a good group of backs. Our number 1 back is Kadeem Campbell, who rushed for 112 yards and 12 carries, and he's going to be the guy that's going to get most of the touches. But we have our fullback, which is Richardson, the receiver. He's going to get some touches, and Najee Champagne at our right halfback, who is explosive too.
Well, I'm looking forward to this week, especially because you guys coming off a big win, Erasmus coming off a big loss. I'm a Brooklyn guy, so this is good Brooklyn football. You know, you get tired of hearing, I know about the city champs, but you want to see some good competition from week to week, and you throw boys and girls in the mix. You beat up on the Curtis team, and you got Erasmus. I'm loving just the Brooklyn football that's being played right now. I'm tired of Staten Island. That's just me. I'm tired of it.
Hey, Clive, it's got to be really, really easy for you if you've been involved with the program for 5 years to get the kids to buy into what you're selling.
Well, I think that, you know, when you take over a program, even though I started 5 years ago, and you know, I have my footprint on from day one, but it takes about 5 years to really get the program going the way you want, and especially running a complicated wing T offense. For the kids to understand what you're doing and to have the coaches understand what you're doing, it takes about 5 years, and we're at that 5-year point right now. So hopefully the 5-year mark is the test of time.
And I got to say this, it's maybe a little nostalgic, but when you played for Lincoln, you guys were really winners in Brooklyn, and you translate that to your kids 3 decades later, they've got to be pretty proud of you.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I don't talk about it much, but you know, I always tell the kids, listen, I played in this offense. So when I tell you that this is going to work, this is going to work, and they understand it because I played in the offense. So I get a good response from the kids.
All right, Coach, best of luck against Erasmus.
Thank you, definitely.
Clive Harding, a true legend in the PSAL.
Down by 7. Final play for Detroit.
Only thing that would make this any better is overtime.
They'll need a miracle to win this football game. Barrett slot right, drops back. Hines takes the pass at the 30. With the seam! Wow! Can you believe it? One man to beat!
And joining us now here at Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown Brooklyn, CEO of Game Over, Eric Hickson. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. We're very happy to once again, this is the second year that Game Over is going to be involved with football. Football is something that we wanted to expand into, and the Game Over trophy is now the symbol of victory for football for the Game of the Week, the NYC football.com Game of the Week.
And Devale handed that trophy over to Alvin Cornelius this week. He looked like he was excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you talk about making the transition from basketball to football, because I made the transition in high school. What made you make the transition from basketball, which is, you know, New York City is a basketball sport? What made you make the transition from basketball to football?
Well, you know, from day one, Game Over was designed to be, just the term itself is good for all sports. You know, just about in every sport there's that definitive moment. That's the game over moment, we call it. So it was just a natural thing for us. And the thing that held us up was we wanted to come up with that definitive symbol. You know, the basketball trophy is the guy with the ball in one hand and the rim in the other. What were we going to come up with for football? So we came up with what we have, the guy with the football in one hand and his foot on an opposing team's helmet, crushing it down, and game over. It says it all.
Well, I have one more question. Do you think New York City is becoming a football city?
I think what NYCFootball.com is doing is absolutely great. Just the buzz that I hear out there on the street and around the circuit is that this game of the week concept has really, really taken off. So I think it is. I really think that it may catch up with the rest of the country, and I think that's what the goal is.
Thanks a lot for stopping by, Eric. We look forward to that trophy being presented every week, and I know the kids love it.
Absolutely. We're proud and very happy to be a part of this.
Week 1 is in the books, and remember to go to NYCFootball.com and Madman Predictions for all the best and latest info, and of course our Game of the Week with defending PSAL champion Fort Hamilton on the road to take on Campus Magnet, coming off that big upset win over top-ranked Erasmus Hall. We'll see you next week.
Get it, get it, get it. Yo, stop. Have fun. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it,